It took my parents 6 entire months to realize I'd moved 800 miles away. 6 months. Let that sink in. I went from living a 30-minute drive from their house to living in a different time zone, and the only thing that changed was, well, nothing. And that's exactly how I knew it was the right decision. Now, a frantic phone call from my dad is threatening to drag me right back into the family drama I so desperately escaped. I've always been the easy child. My older brother, Leo, was the son my parents orbited around. He was the one who got into trouble, the one who needed help with his homework, the one who crashed the family car, and the one whose every minor achievement was celebrated with a 5-course meal. I, on the other hand, was the quiet, self-sufficient daughter. I got good grades, never missed a curfew, and handled my own problems. My parents loved me, I suppose, but their love felt like the kind you have for a reliable appliance. You know it's there, you know it works, but you only really think about it when it's not doing its job. This dynamic meant our weekly phone calls were painfully predictable. "Hi, honey, how are things?" my mom would ask, and before I could give more than a one-word answer, she'd launch into the latest saga about Leo. "Your brother is thinking of changing his major again. Your brother and his girlfriend Kate had a small fight. Your brother got a new video game. You should see how happy he is." I was a spectator in my own family, a sounding board for the main event, Leo's life. So, when I got a fantastic job offer in Colorado, a state I'd always dreamed of living in, a little experiment formed in my mind. What if I just didn't tell them? I was 24, fully independent, and paid my own bills. I didn't need their permission. I packed up my apartment over a few weeks, sold my old furniture, and drove west. I continued to answer their weekly calls, but I was careful. I'd take the calls inside my new apartment, never on a walk where they might hear the wind whistling through the Rocky Mountains instead of the familiar city hum. They never asked specific questions. They never asked to visit. They never asked what I did last weekend. So I never offered the information. For half a year, I built a new life in blissful anonymity. I made friends, found a favorite hiking trail, and felt my own identity start to bloom outside the shadow of my brother. Then, last Tuesday, my phone rang. It was my dad, and his voice was booming with an excitement I hadn't heard directed at me in years. "Clara, big news. Your brother and Kate are getting married," he announced. "Wow, that's great, Dad. I'm happy for them," I said genuinely. "It's all happening so fast." "The wedding is in 2 weeks," he continued, his words tumbling over each other. "We're all hands on deck. Your mother is a mess with the planning, so we need you here next weekend to help with the decorations and to go with her for the final dress fitting." There was no question in his voice. It was a command, a summons, as if I was just sitting in my old apartment, waiting for instructions. I took a deep breath, looking out my window at the snow-capped mountains in the distance. "Dad," I said slowly, "I can't." "What do you mean you can't?" he scoffed. "It's your brother's wedding, for crying out loud. It's the most important day of his life. You can't just skip out on helping." This was it. The moment of truth. "I can't help because I don't live there anymore, Dad." The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. I could practically hear the gears in his head grinding to a halt. What are you talking about? Are you on a trip?" "No, Dad," I said, my voice steady. "I moved 6 months ago. I have a new job, a new apartment. I live in Colorado now." I've never heard my father so speechless. It was a solid 10 seconds of pure static before his voice came back, laced with a mix of confusion and fury. "You what? You moved to another state and you didn't tell us? What kind of a daughter does that? Are you serious?" "I tried," I said calmly, though my heart was hammering. "You never asked. Every call was about Leo. You didn't notice I was gone because you were never really paying attention to whether I was here in the first place." The truth hung in the air, sharp and uncomfortable. He completely ignored my point. "I don't care about any of that right now," he snapped. "This is about family. Leo needs his sister at his wedding. You are to book a flight and be here. End of discussion." He was demanding my presence at an event not because they missed me, but because my absence would be an inconvenience. It would disrupt the perfect family picture they wanted for Leo's big day. For 6 months, I didn't exist to them. But now my role as the sister was required for the stage play of my brother's life, and I was expected to materialize on cue. I told him I couldn't get the time off my new job on such short notice and that a last-minute flight would be incredibly expensive. His response? Figure it out. This is not optional. He hung up, and now my phone is blowing up with texts from my mom calling me selfish and ungrateful. They didn't notice when I left, but they are certainly noticing that I'm not willing to come back on their terms.